All right, Sean, you put me on the spot, so I don't have my key in front of me, so let's see here. Maybe let's focus on, first and foremost, the parallel lines. Okay? And then I'm going to focus on a number. You got to find a number. If you don't have a single number, you're in trouble. So I'm going to maybe focus on this one here. Okay, let's see, W. What do we know about these two angles here? They're corresponding. They both touch the parallel lines, and they both touch that one transversal that we're after. So these are corresponding. You can maybe make a little note, right, to yourself. They're corresponding. So I'm going to figure out, I know that they're supposed to be the same. So I'm going to go W. I'm going to say I start right there. Okay, so W is 30 degrees. And because I know that because corresponding angles are congruent. However, this is only because the lines are parallel here. If they hadn't been parallel, you could not say that. Okay? But it will be the case. It will be the case. Next. Let me see here. I see the 110 here and Y right beside it. Those are easy. Right? If they're beside each other, they're 180, right, along a straight line. So I'm going to focus on this one here next. I'm going to come over here, and I know that that's 70 degrees. You can show the work. Doesn't hurt. And I'll just say that supplementary angles are equal to 180. And maybe you looked at the key, and what do I have in there? Maybe I have straight angles are equal to 180. Maybe that's why I have in the key. That's fine. It is also a straight angle. Straight angle, if there's anything cutting a straight angle, they're supplementary. So you may choose whatever you want there. Okay? How would you like to proceed from there, Sean? Well, let's try. Let's try. Do we know something about, yeah, they're CIAs, right? Okay, so I know that these are CIAs. So I know that they're supposed to add up to 180, correct? So I'm just going to go over here. X is the next one that I've done. You don't have to do it that way. 180 minus Y. Tell yourself, what have I done there? Okay? And so it's 180 minus Y, which I know is 70. And that is 110 degrees. So I'll just say consecutive interior angles are equal to 180, and just make sure I write that down there. Is there another way we could have come up with that? Clark, yes? You're seeing these two here? Alternate interior, right? It jives, it should jive, right? So yes, if you went with alternate interior, good to go, 100%. And last but not least, I have Z there. There's not just one way of doing it. Some of you might be tempted to say vertically opposite, but they're not. These two are not. W and Z are not vertically opposite. Let me see here. This is going to be my approach. Sum of triangle? Oh. Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah. I see it now. So let's do some work on here. That's totally fine to do that. If this is 30, then we know that this is 30, correct? The property would be vertically opposite. This is 30, this is 110. I can figure out this one right here. Okay? What should we call it? Call it angle M if you want to. And then I'll just say here, angle M is 180 minus 110 minus 30. And so angle M is 40 degrees. I used sum of triangle. Go ahead and do that. You know what? The main reason I give you the table is just to organize your work. To have, it's even more selfish, easier to mark. If it's all in one place, right? If you have it all over the place, I have to go find like which one are you solving where. Here I kind of force you to put it all in the same way that I have my key. Okay, but this is fine. So now you know that this here is 40, and yes, Z and M are vertically opposite. So I'm going to go over here. There's numerous ways you could have done this, and I'll just say vertically opposite angles are congruent. And I'll just tell you this, maybe my key says something like this, vertically opposite to M, right? Z is vertically opposite to M. It's possible that I answered that way, and I'm not too picky with that, as long as I see some keywords there. So this is the last angle I solved for, so I went all over the place. We're good? Make sense? So don't think it is one way only. There's very many ways to get there. Okay? So I'm going to give you I want to give you an AC before I continue, unless you want me to do one more. You got to tell me though which one, because I don't know. I love them all equally, so I don't know which one I would do over the other. Favor? Suggestion? Anybody? Yep. 19, the last one. Yep, this one here. Okay. Good choice, good choice. Page 19, this last one here. Yeah, this one is not something you've seen before, most likely. Here you just have to use what you already know to make it easier for you, okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say that this angle is the same as this one because of the vertically opposite property. So I'm going to say, hey, guess what? This angle is also 5x plus 40. Yeah, that's why I did that. And the 3x plus 4 is the same as this one, correct? This is 3x plus 4, also vertically opposite. So I brought this one over here, and I have to apologize, my key is probably different because I actually like to solve it in more than one way, so your brain starts to see the connections, right? So what do we know about these two? Let me back up. Do we have a name for these two angles? None of the four apply, right? So then you have to massage the question a bit. You have to say, you go over here, you go over there. You're not changing the question. You're just making it look different and considering other pieces. These two are CIAs. Right? These two angles. And so what do we know about CIAs? That when the two lines are parallel, they are supplementary. So we're going to go 5x plus 40, put it in brackets to see that this one angle, plus 3x plus 4, okay, that's that second angle, that is equal to 180. You cannot say 5x plus 40 is equal to 3x plus 4. That's not correct. That's what a lot of students tend to do, but when it's CIAs, you cannot do that. Okay? So here we go. Because there's a plus here, we can drop the brackets. If there had been a negative out here, you would first have to distribute that negative into this, and then you can get rid of it. 5x plus 40 plus 3x plus 4 is equal to 180. I will combine the x's here. That's 8x. And I will also combine the constants there. That's 44 is equal to 180. What do I do here? Some of your teachers may have told you subtract 44 from both sides. It's the exact same thing that I'm doing. I'm just showing you a different way. So this one comes over, subtracting. 8x is equal to 180 minus 44. 8x is equal to 136, yeah. Divided by 8. 17? 18? Oh yeah, because 17 degrees. There you go. We've got that. So x is 17. Did I ask you to also, it says determine the value of x, then calculates the values of a, b, c. Okay, so I have to figure out a, b, c, and I used up all my space there. So I'm going to have to be wise with my space. I'll figure out a. A is right here. I know that that's 3x plus 4. So angle A is 3x plus 4. That is 54 plus or 58, right? Oh yeah, this is, yeah, 55? Yeah. 3 times 17 is 51 plus 4. Yeah, you're right. There you go. A is 55. And you notice what B is to A? Their alternate interior. So you don't even have to plug in. Angle B is 55 as well. Alternate interior angles are congruent, right? So if you're not sure, just justify it. And there you have it. Make sense? What about the triangle up there? Anybody struggled with that one? You should see the triangle. Never mind the parallel lines. These three add up to what? 180. Okay, so let's do that quick. So I'll go 2x plus x minus 12 plus 5x is equal to 180 degrees. I can drop the brackets. I'll combine all the x terms. So that's 8x minus 12 is equal to 180. I'll bring the constant over to the other side to meet the other numbers. So that's 180 plus 12. That's 8x is equal to 192. And x is equal to 24, yeah, 24 degrees. So now we know what x is. Now you can just go back to every single angle and plug it in. But you have to be careful because watch this. A is supplementary to this one. So we'll just go 2x is 48 degrees, right? So I know that this angle is 48 degrees. A is equal to 180 minus 48. So angle A is 132. And D, what's D compared to A? What do we call these here? Corresponding. We know that D is going to be equal to A. So by finding A, you actually found D. So angle D is 132 corresponding. And I'm going to find B as well. B and this angle, they're vertically opposite. They're the same. So I can actually say that angle B is 5 times 24. Okay. And that's 120. There you go. So I found angle B. C is the same as B. They're also corresponding. So angle C is 120. And that's because corresponding angles are congruent. Okay, so you found X, which allowed you to find everything else. Okay, so that's how you do one of the more complicated ones. Okay. Before I give you the AC, I'm going to review one concept that we haven't spent a whole lot of time yet. We've been talking about it, but how to officially state why are lines parallel, okay? So we're gonna go back a few pages here. So go to page 7. If I'm asking you to prove or state why lines are parallel, page 7, I give you a little bit of a guide on how to proceed, even though you don't have to stick to it exactly the way it is. But number 1 is try to find an angle pair with a name. So one of the 4, AI, AE, corresponding, or CIAs. Try to find that. If you can't, okay, you might have to resort to sum of triangle, right? You can always use this one. You can always use supplementary, vertically opposite, straight angles, sum of quadrilaterals is 360 to calculate, to come up with other angles that you might need to make to find your pair, okay? Check to see if the property about them is true. If yes, lines are parallel. If no, obviously lines are not parallel. What do I mean by that? It's oftentimes, folks, it takes you not half a second, less than half a minute to do this. Okay, so let's do one of these questions here. In each diagram, prove/show whether or not line EF is parallel to GH. Is there more than one way to justify? The answer is yes. Okay, the answer is usually yes if you have a bunch of numbers. So here, I have these two here. I noticed something about them. I know that they're corresponding, correct? That is for sure. That is correct every single time that these are corresponding. What do we notice about them? That they're congruent, correct? So I would say corresponding angles are congruent. Therefore, EF, this is the symbol for parallel. EF is parallel to GH. That's it. You've done it. Or, okay, let's say you can also do it a different way. Do we see other angles? Do you see the 113? What do we call those? Alternate exterior angles. What do we know about them? They are congruent, right? Because they could not be congruent. But in this case, they are. Therefore, 3 dots like that, you may have seen that before. Therefore, EF is parallel to GH. So in this case, you had at least 2 ways to answer this question, whether or not lines are parallel. Could you come up with other angles? Absolutely. You know that if this is 67, this is also 67, right? And then you would have observed, hey, alternate interior angles are congruent as well. So yeah, lines are parallel. So that's why if you can prove one of these, you actually are telling me that all 4 properties are true. That alternate interior, corresponding, alternate exterior, they're all congruent, and that CIAs are equal to 180. That's what you're telling me, but you only need to show one. Let's try this one here. Do we have a name for these two? No name, right? No name. Okay. No name for given pair. Okay. Do some work. Okay, there's no name for the given pair. Do some work. Let's do some work here. This 70, I'm going to choose to bring it over here. I'm going to use that red pen there or something. Right, the 70. Why can we say this? Because vertically opposite angles are always congruent. So I'll just say that. Vertically opposite angles congruent. That's my justification for doing that. So that's actually showing your work if you do it right on the diagram. Okay? And what do we know about these two? Those are CIAs, correct? Before we write anything down, do these add up to 180? No. So we know that EF is not parallel to GH. Okay? So I'll just say 109 plus 70 is equal to 179. I'll just make a statement like that. Consecutive interior angles do not add up to 180 degrees. They're not supplementary. Therefore, EF is not. So you got to go parallel line and then cross it out. Parallel to GH. I don't know if I want to add an OR to this, but I could. If this is 70, folks, what's this one here? 110. 110 and 109, they're not congruent, correct? But they're corresponding. They should be. If you want parallel lines, they should be. So that's another way of showing it's not happening. Okay? So just be creative. Apply what you know. Surprise me, right? Showing your work. I can read your work and determine what needs to happen there. Let's go to 8. These ones are not as obvious. Go to page 8 here. I want you to give this one a try. How would you be able to determine or state whether or not EF is parallel to GH with what you know? Try to tell the audience as much info as you know about them. If you come up with an angle, tell me how you came up with it, why you did it. Okay? You can either make an arrow going to it or something like that, but give this a try using that reasoning we just did. So this one here, I'm going to try to find angles here. I can't help but think of the triangles. Okay? I don't know if you see it. How would that help me here? I can find that one there, right? Angle BHG, because I know you love 3-letter notation, right? So I'll just go ahead and do that. Angle BHG, but remember you can give it a letter of your choice. If you want to call this lowercase a, you go for it. Okay? But that would be 180 minus 75 minus 40. Okay? And we're going to write it in later so we know which one we're talking about. So that would be what, 65? 65 degrees. And I used sum of triangle. So this is the part where you're probably a bit thrown off, like where are all these justifications coming from? Because that's what this unit wants you to do. Okay? So 65 goes in there. I'm going to write it in with a pen so that it sticks out. Hey, what do we notice here? We have a name and we notice a number that they're the same. Okay? So now we can say corresponding, no, not corresponding, alternate interior, right? Alternate interior angles are congruent, therefore EF is parallel to GH. So I did a bunch of work there to help me out. Anybody use a different method? I can see that some of you may have, I can see someone bringing up, like if this is 65, then this is 115 here, right? And then maybe you tried, right? This is 65. I don't know. Once you figure out these two, you can figure out that one. These two are corresponding. it most definitely should be 75 here. If you get 75 here, then you should notice, oh, these are corresponding. I think it's a little bit more work, to be honest, but corresponding should be congruent because, hey, once you've determined these lines are parallel, there's nothing, it could give you 1,000 transversals. They should all say the same thing. You can't change that, okay? You cannot change the fact that EF is parallel to GH. You can just confirm it, but you can't change it, okay? Are we getting the hang of it? I hope so. Just show me work. You don't have to do it exactly like me, but just show work. What about over here? What do we notice about these two? We know they're CIAs, but is the property about them unique? Let's see, let's do some mental math. They add up to 180, correct? So we're in business. We're good here. There's not even a whole lot of work we need to do. This is equal to 180. So consecutive interior angles are equal to 180. Therefore, EF is parallel to GH. That's one way of doing it. You could have also come up with the 103 over here. These are also CIAs. I use vertically opposite to give me this. And then, oh, CIAs are 180 as well. So regardless of how you approach it, you get the same answer. Question. Is BC parallel to FH? Are these two parallel? No, because look, Mr. Dirksen, the diagram tells me that. Not good enough. What are these two? If we're considering these two lines to be parallel, right? This is the transversal. These are corresponding, correct? Are corresponding congruent? Therefore, they're not parallel. Okay, so it goes. You can take it the way you want it. It's the same idea here. Okay, but that wasn't the question. But I just want to expand your knowledge a little bit. Okay. I know this is a weird time to give an AC, but I'll give you the AC. I just wanted to. I know this is a weird unit, so I wanted to give you a bit of a heads up.